What up? My name is Brad. Welcome back to 59Gaming. So we sat down. We were going to talk about Mario Kart World, and then we decided, you know what, everybody else on the face of the planet's talking about it. So I'm going to have it playing up right up here so you guys could watch the direct. We'll discuss it a little bit, some of the new stuff maybe, but there's not a whole lot to say. It was basically just showing if you've never played a Mario Kart, which is not the vast majority of the human race. So we're not going to discuss it too much, but we did want to talk about the price of games, because Mario Kart World is obviously the first game to jump up to that $80 price point. And Nolar, he's ancient, he's old. So he's got a very unique perspective. Hey, no, listen, man. He's got a very unique perspective about games. So we thought, you know what, let's sit down. And we're just going to talk about the price of games, if we feel like it's validated, how it's increased. But I'm pretty much going to let Nolar take the charge here, and I'm just going to stare at you while he talks to you. So what do you got, Nolar?
All right. Okay, so I'm like pushing my 40s now, so that tells you how ancient I am. So when I was there for the SNES, you know, the N64, PlayStation, all that stuff. I only had the SNES and the N64, yeah, I was around for that time, and like looking back, it makes knowing what I am now as an adult, it makes a lot of sense how things played out. So the reason why I want to bring this up is everyone's saying like, oh, $80 is expensive, and then the other side is like, well, you know, if you adjust for inflation for the games we paid for back then, it would be even more expensive to today. And games haven't really kept up with, you know, inflation as a whole. You know, the prices have relatively been the same, so it's justifiable that as a hobby, something people use as an entertainment, it should be concurrent with your lifestyle, right? And life has changed quite a bit in terms of pricing. So back then, games were 60, you know, Nintendo games, specifically with the cartridges, were 60, 70 bucks. You know, even 80 bucks for, I think, Turok N64 back in the day. And the thing is...
That's crazy. I never knew that, because I started with the PS1, and those were only 30 bucks. That's crazy.
Right, and so, just to give you a little history, the reason why Sony won that console war, at least in the everyone's mind's eye, was because it was so cheap. Like, yeah, the games were... the console itself might have been comparable in terms of pricing, but if you're telling me that I had to pay $80 for a Turok game, which if adjusted for inflation to today, it'd be like double the price. It'd be like closer to $160. Yeah, my dad would tell me, you're only getting one of these, you know? Or,
yeah, there's no way.
One every 6 months or whatever. And then, you know, to sidetrack that, there were a couple things. I had friends that I could literally physically swap those games with. Like, hey, you got GoldenEye, I got Turok. Like, let's go, you know, let me borrow that for a bit. And then you can borrow this one. Like, that was one thing. And then back in the day, you could rent video games at your Blockbuster. At least for me, it was Rogers Video Store in Canada. So for the weekend, for $5, I could play the game. You know what I mean? And then rent it again if I wanted to. And it wasn't going to cost me $80 to own it. So anyways, that's just how old I am. And then CDs for Sony were so much cheaper because the actual production of CDs was a lot cheaper than making physical cartridges that Nintendo was insistent on. So that's how like PlayStation kind of got off the ground and just kept pushing forward on their technological advancements, and you know, everyone was like, yeah, Sony and all that PlayStation stuff. And Nintendo's always been great, but it's had its ups and downs if you look through it over the years. So my point is, the games have always been expensive, but things are very different today. Like, I can't give Hydros my FF16 copy on my PS5 because it's tied to my PSN account. You know, so I can't let him borrow it. It's not the same thing, and it's still whatever 60, 70 bucks that I paid for it, which technically compared to back then is quote unquote cheaper and better value. But I only own the copy. I can't let him borrow it. It's not the way it was.
Which we should point out as well. Go ahead, Hydros, you're fine.
I was gonna say technically, GameShare still does exist on PlayStation, so yes, you technically can. But it's not like it used to be. I think GameShare, like back in like the PS3 days, was like up to like 5 people. It's now like 1 or 2, I think now. But either way, I'm just saying, technically you can, very, very technically, like asterisk among asterisks. But yeah.
I wonder if you'll see a resurgence, or you'll see something new pop up that allows you to rent digital games, which I think you probably technically can. But I saw Netflix was trying to get into having part of that. I mean, I was somebody when I was like 13, 14, I had GameFly. My grandma would pay for that. So I could rent 2 games at a time for $20 a month. Yep. And even
Yep.
back then, that was significantly a better deal. And then if I really liked the game, cool, I could buy it then because I knew I liked it. I don't know if we'll see a resurgence of something like that, or if we'll see, like I said, a whole new service pop up where it's just straight up you're
Gamefly
renting
still
digital
exists.
games. Yeah, I still have it actually. I got it a couple of years ago, and I really actually need to send the 2 games back that I've had for 2 years now. but but it's Shin Megami Tensei 5 and Nexomon. I'm still chilling with those, but I just haven't done it. But either way, it's I don't know if we'll see it because I mean it's only like I think it's 19 a month, maybe 21 a month for 2 games, and I mean I'm able to rent those 2 games and keep them indefinitely. I mean I've had them for 2 years at this point, so I could see a total something popping up that's either renting digital games, maybe Blockbuster comes back. I don't know. Like it's gonna be weird because like you're saying, a normal household. I mean, we can barely even get groceries nowadays without dropping $200. You go and try to tell your mom to pay $100 for GTA 6. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. Like it's not gonna be. Most parents, obviously, some you're gonna have money. Even though Laura, you're doing all right financially, you're gonna be fine. It's not gonna really impact. But the vast majority of people nowadays do not have $100 to throw down on Mario Kart.
Yeah.
So just to throw out GameFly, I'm looking at the game prices and stuff like the subscription. They have a budget option for 1 rental at a time. The only feature in the plan you get is unlimited game and movie rentals for $7 for the first 3 months, and it's $10.95. So I mean that's for most people that's probably what they're looking for.
Yeah, $10.
So
That's
just to
pretty
be able to
reasonable to be honest.
To rent
with
a
you.
game, 1 game or movie, sure. You get movies. I didn't even know they did movies. To be fair. Or if you get the standard, you get whatever game lock is, self-return, new release rentals. I guess new release rentals is the thing, huh?
So I do
guess
remember
that's
that was a hard thing
$18.
when I was a kid. It was tough to get certain games, like when Pokemon would come out. You have to have it in your list for like 6 months ahead of time to even get considered getting the game.
Yeah.
So that
Getting
was
lines,
an issue
yeah.
too.
So kind of to build off of Pilar as well. You know how you were saying like you would only get like 1 game a month and stuff. Like you had to pick a kind of choose which kind of game you probably wanted. It's the same way for me back when like with Pokemon because I was like when with the Game Boy Advance and all that stuff. I had to like do yard work and beg my parents just for 1 Pokemon game whenever the new one came out. That's the only game I usually ever got on Game Boy was Pokemon, and I ended up doing a lot of like negotiating back then for those games, and they were only like $35.
So unironically, do you guys think we'll see a? So I'm not an Xbox kind of guy. I've always been PlayStation, Nintendo. I had a 360. I liked it. Do you think we'll see? Is that why Xbox is going so hard on their Game Pass? Because they knew this increase was going to be coming. And I mean, they even got like some of their new games popping up on it because it makes sense to have Game Pass at this point. If games are going to be $80, $90, $100 and they pop up on Game Pass.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's kind of like what Netflix saw back in the day. Because remember, for a majority of you guys, Netflix wasn't streaming. They were renting DVDs out. Yeah. Same thing like GameFly. Hey, I'm going to watch a season of The Office, right? So you get a season of The Office on DVD, you watch it, you return it, you get the second season, and so on and so on. Netflix had the foresight to understand that streaming was the next big jump, and they wanted to get in on it, and they got in on it early.
Yeah.
And that's why everyone, even though technically like Apple TV and Max and all these other services have better quality programming or better services, whatever you want to call it, when people think of streaming, they immediately, mind's eye, they think of Netflix.
Oh yeah, no, 100%, yeah.
So I think that's what Microsoft is banking on. They're like, yeah, everyone, like, games are going to be at this price point, and it's continuous revenue. So yeah, it's $15, $20. I forgot what the price is a month. But like with subscriptions, as we are all adults here, if you don't keep on top of it, you kind of forget about it, and they just eat that money every month.
Oh yeah, I just talked about GameFly, bro. I've had it for 2 years, and I've had the same 2 games.
Right. So like, that's what Microsoft wants of Brad. They want lots of Brads to sub and forget about it, and they'll just eat that money and the services. Same thing like the gym. Like I have a gym service. I pay every month. I use it, but not as often as I should, because like when you think about the money breakdown, you're like, yeah, I'm not getting as much as they are, as the gym is like taking more money out of me. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I think Microsoft is banking hard on this, which is why, on a side note, like I don't think if you're looking at the console war of this generation, like Xbox versus Switch PS2 coming out versus the PS5, like I don't think Microsoft cares that they're not selling hardware when their grand prize is the subscription.
Oh,
Everyone
100%,
can
yeah.
buy a sub. You know what I mean? And they're making it in such a way where the Xbox Game Pass works on your phone. It works on your laptop, your netbook, or whatever you want to call it, your TV, your monitor, whatever device that has an internet connection. Like they will make it work, and it's like cool. You know, that's what they want. They want those number subscriptions like Netflix on their service. So to me, I think that's why Microsoft, that's their whole thing. They're all in on that, and so like it's hard to say it's not good value, right? If you're a kid,
Oh, dude, 100%, yeah.
I would rather say you have a phone. I'll pay $20 a month for you to play all these other games, but you know, obviously it's not the same experience as us sitting in front of a TV or playing on a PC. But you know, it's $20 instead of $100 for
One
a
game.
GTA. Yeah, one game that you don't actually own. You know what I mean? So like, you know, if you're not going to own it, you might as well pay the least amount. And right now, that's the Game Pass.
I hadn't really even thought about it until we started recording this video, because I don't like dislike Xbox or anything. I just don't really care, to be honest with you, one way or the other. I never had a desire to own it. Then I'm thinking, like, it makes a lot of sense. I don't know how well it'll really pop off, because I feel like Xbox has taken a lot of hits and a lot of L's as of, like, the last 2 years, but I'm also not informed enough on the game markets to really say it. They might be raking money in with Game Pass, and I don't know.
So I was going to combat this point of, yeah, you get the games cheaper. It depends, as well as a lot of the older games, at least not for the newest generation maybe, but at least a lot of the older generations have a lot of these games, especially ones that are physical. A lot of us already own these physical games. So are we really playing those on Game Pass? Probably not. We're playing them on the consoles that we already probably own them on. And then also, it depends on if, big if, a game you like comes out that month. What if there's a month you don't, there's no new games that you really want to play? So that's $20, at least for Ultimate, down the drain. If you got the other one, it's at the $12, I think. But either way, and also it's Ultimate is online console multiplayer. I think that's like the Xbox Live equivalent that's supposed to be covering, right? So, but then they have the PC only for the $12, but that's not.
I mean, you're going to have a month here and there where you don't get a game you want to play, right? I mean, realistically.
Right. I'm saying in the long run, would I rather pay for an $80 game or Game Pass? Probably an $80 game, if I'm being quite honest.
It depends on the game and the console and stuff. Like, I know, for example, like a Pokemon game, I personally am going to get thousands of hours out of it. I know that.
Yes. Again, it does depend on the game. I know that. I'm not saying
of course,
every game is going to be the same. And not everyone's going to be the same thing. And I do agree with a lot of that. You know, with the cloud stuff and everything like that, it's just the convenience of it. Unless if you have the internet at least to do it. If you don't, then it's pretty much going to suck. And then it's what is it? And then it's they do include the EA Play membership, which I don't really care who no one but no EA no.
Hey, that Split Fiction me and Nolar were playing is made by EA, and that game is actually pretty dope. We were playing it the other night.
I did see that one being
by EA. Yeah,
it was pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie to you. By the way,
I'm saying that Game Pass has the EA Play membership included.
Yeah,
in it,
I think just to get us back on point here, like there's a lot of options. I think that's the main thing. Is like $80 for a game. It's US dollars. If you're in Canada, that's $110. Which is even a harder proposition because, like, mentally, when I think of something as $100 or more, I legitimately think about that purchase way harder than if it was $90. It's only a $10 difference. It's just mentally, I'm thinking that's another digit to my expense. I need to make sure this is something I want and can afford, or whatever. You know, all the decision-making processes go through there. But like, if I was in Canada and I saw Mario Kart's $110. I don't know, man. when Game Pass is like, I don't know what it is in Canadian, but I would say like $25 just to throw out a number comparable. That sounds like a better deal. Or, and my next point, a free-to-play game. I think that's the one thing that differentiates the last 10 years versus when I was a kid, that you have all these free-to-play games like Marvel Rivals,
Fortnite.
Fortnite, that's just on like consoles and PC. Let alone on your phone, you've got a ton of gacha games like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, all this stuff where
Dokkan Battle. You don't even talk about Dokkan, bro. Like, come on, man.
yeah, well, we'll leave that behind. But my main point is, you have a lot of other things vying for your time. That's the most limited thing we all have. Everybody has is time. So either you want to spend, if you're in Canada, $110 for Mario Kart, or you just go play Genshin Impact on your phone for the next, 8 months to a year, 2 years, or whatever. I know different experiences, but like those are all competing for your time, right? So.
No. We are gacha players, so obviously everyone knows this at this point. Let's put a big asterisk on the gacha. Yes, the game may be free, but your experience might not be pleasurable if you don't spend money, and you might end up spending more money than you would on Mario Kart.
So I mean, I'm a prime example of like Dragon Ball Legends came out, and I dropped $300 for the new Daima characters, and I don't even have them. Like, I'd rather play an $80 game at that point, like, because at least I know I'm getting it.
Let's include the asterisks of, yes, they're free, but your experience is solely dependent on if you get lucky in the gacha. But let's be honest, that doesn't last, because we've all seen Nolar summon on Genshin Impact, and that was not fun for what's his name, right?
So there's so many variables that go into it. I think overall, I stand probably more with Hydros, that I would rather pay for an $80 game that I know for a fact I'm gonna like or get my money out of, because I find myself, I had that PlayStation Plus for like the top tier one for like a year, and I played like 6 games. I found myself emulating on my computer my PS3 games because they played better. I was like, why am I even paying for this?
Even PlayStation Plus and all that, like, they offer all these games like a game catalog. I don't know if Game Pass offers like older school games, because I know PlayStation Plus's premium thing has like the classic catalog. I don't know if Game Pass.
I'm pretty sure it has 360 on there.
If it doesn't, either way, my point was being, Game Pass is like, here's a way to try the games, but if it's a game I know I'm gonna play, I'm most likely just gonna end up buying the game instead of essentially renting it through Game Pass. Is what it is.
Yeah, but see, still, you live in a time now where, like, so you buy the new, let's say you buy the new Call of Duty. That disc only has 80 megabytes on it. You have to download.
I know.
300 gigs.
Even then, I know. Even the download's a different story. It's not whether or not the download of the game or the size of the game on the disc or whatever. It's the fact that I would most likely rather just buy the game than just the
I think at the end we're gonna come to a point where we're just living in a different world than when we started playing games in, and a lot of these companies are far more ahead of the curve than maybe we even think they are. I think they have to be, right? Like, realistically, we talk about like Game Pass.
Yeah.
For us, like, oldies, you know how we always scream like, digital's gonna kill all the physical media and stuff like that. Nintendo, in my opinion, is more pro physical than any of the other two.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They still do it. Versus Sony and PlayStation, they don't even sell the console with the disc tray anymore. Both of them don't.
Yeah, it's just something we're gonna have. It's the inevitable.
Way,
right?
To make it discless.
Yeah, I mean, just to reiterate, Brad's point that, we grew up in a different era, and this is obviously different. Like, for us, we're viewing things as when we grew up. If you're 15, 18 now, your viewpoint on stuff is like, oh yeah, battle passes are normal. Like, battle passes are still not normal to me.
Bro, I'd argue pre-Fortnite is a different world. Like, I mean, sincerely, like, Fortnite was the one that founded all of this stuff. Like, I don't know. It's not necessarily a bad thing. There's pros and cons to both. Like, I love whenever I get like a new console or something, I can just boom, download all my stuff, done, no problems, no issues. I think it's cool. I think it's fun to transfer things over. Like, there's so many pros, but I don't know. We'll see what happens when you saw what happened when the 3DS store shut down. Everybody lost their mind.
I think eventually older ones need to shut down to incorporate the newer generations, right? That's why I'm saying, like, game companies need to stop developing for PS4, but obviously they're not going to leave money on the table because it is what it is. But for me, I don't mind the idea of cloud, and I don't mind the idea of all these like game passes and stuff. It's especially for cloud, the world needs to still catch up. Not a lot of places still have good internet. Like, for me, I still can't get fiber where I am. So it's like that's the only way I could justify. Well, my internet's not too bad for cloud in general, but I'm saying like if I had cloud gaming like on my phone, I would make if you're in a good place for connection wise, then cool, you're gonna probably have a good experience maybe on mobile on mobile data, right? And then it really just depends, because that stuff I think still needs to catch up more for it to be justifiable in a line the long
Yeah,
run.
but sadly, it has to make that money. It's like a rock and a hard place. It has to make that money to then be able to have the funding, quote unquote, to then be able to catch up, right? Like,
I
just...
assume the Game Pass has like deals in place for developers. Like they get what, like X amount of revenue or X amount of, like, if games are downloaded and played, they probably get like a play count revenues.
Yeah,
there's
I'm sure, yeah.
In my opinion, I probably still think they get paid less than if you would just support them by buying the game. I think that's still the better way.
I'd have to see the analytics, but I'd probably agree with you for the most part. Yeah.
For the most part, it is true. What Hydra said is that they do earn more of a commission per purchase, but the problem is, like, if you have no marketing or virtually no marketing, then the Game Pass is your best bet, because you're at least guaranteed to have at least 20 million subscribers of Game Pass see your game there. You know what I mean? Versus
that's great
if
for
you
indies.
Oh yeah.
Well, I know, and that's what I'm saying is like and that's a whole other topic we can get into, like AA versus AAA and the quote unquote quadruple A studios and projects. But like the big thing with the Game Pass and the reason why it's so, you know, valuable to devs is the fact that there's going to be a lot of eyes on your game, right? And that's better than having 5 people purchase and help you directly. If you could get 10,000 people go and play and, you know, love you as a developer or sing praises about your game, or go straight up from, hey, I'm going to actually purchase that game now that I've tried it on Game Pass, you know? So, you know, I think in terms of the contracts, like, some people would rather have them buy it, but you can't ignore the value of marketing.
Oh yeah, 100%. No, yeah. Well, it's like any other market. We'll call it on this one because I think we're at about 20 minutes now. But even if you look at like Walmart, for example, when a new Pokemon game comes out, it's $10 off at Walmart. It's literally to get you in the door to buy something else. So with Game Pass, I think their thought is we put the newest game on there, that gets your foot in the door, and then you're like, you know what, I'm gonna keep Game Pass. I find myself playing these other games. It's like any other subscription. I mean, realistically, it's a tried and true method that's been going on since, you know, getting a rewards account at Staples or something, or having a Blockbuster card. Like, I'm pretty sure Blockbuster had some kind of membership. It's a tried and true method that's never going to go anywhere. I don't know how successful it'll make Xbox. I really don't. I'm hesitant, but
I don't think it's close to earning them a good amount of revenue yet. But at the same time, Game Pass and all these subscriptions also can go the way of, we talked about the movie streaming, right? Usually it was just Netflix. Now there's however many.
Oh yeah, and they're combining.
Start doing that. Like EA has theirs, Ubisoft has theirs. We're already getting to that point, and that sucks. I hate it. I want an all-in-one, or at least all-in-one, like, specific for the console, right? Not just I need to go buy Ubisofts, I need to go buy EAs, I need to go buy this, that. I don't want to do that. I don't think anyone wants to do that, to be honest.
Good luck with
that. You're right. You're right. But I think Microsoft, at least in my perspective, have got the first mover advantage. Like, when I think of game streaming, I immediately think of Game Pass.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean? Yeah, I agree.
No. Well, either way, I just wanted to wrap this up because, like Brad said, it's going a little longer. But games are expensive. They are going to get more expensive. Like $80 now. Who's to say Sony doesn't go to $90, right? Or if, like, we all hope it doesn't come true, what if GTA comes out and it's like, screw it, it's $100 off the bat, US dollars?
It probably will be. Let's be honest here.
I mean, I'm just gonna throw it out there. I think Rockstar is at least worth the money. So.
Oh, I agree.
You're not wrong.
So that's where you could argue, but like Elden Ring was $60, and now people have gotten like 1,000 hours out of Elden Ring. So you could make so many arguments to like what's worth it, what's not. Everybody's gonna have a different opinion. Like I told you, Pokemon for me. Some other guy might pick up Pokemon, play for 17 minutes, and he's like, this sucks.
I mean, so Elden Ring, yeah, a lot of people have thousands of hours. I'm just going to throw this at you, Brad. Elden Ring did not get over 100 million, almost, I think, 200 million now on their first trailer. Like GTA 6 did. So let's
Oh, well, no. GTA,
wait a minute here.
GTA 5, it still prints money. That's why it's not coming out anytime soon.
I'm saying, I'm just saying like I'm saying like in terms of like GTA.
Yeah, just
like,
raw.
GTA is
How many people are
far-
interested in it? Absolutely. I'm just saying for $60, that's $40 less than what GTA is going to be, and whoever the big fans of that game have gotten countless hours out of it.
I think the issue isn't if Rockstar is worth $100 for GTA 6. I think the problem is, what if Assassin's Creed Shadow like 2, for example, comes out for $100? I don't think they're in the same realm of quality, but they're going to still charge the same amount. I think that's where the industry is going. Is
Bro, Madden comes out at $70, and it's like the only thing that's different is maybe one or two characters got traded to a different team.
Well, I know, but I'm just
Like-
the biggest problem now is as things start trending higher. Some people will be like, yeah, like Baldur's Gate 3, I think was $60, right? Yeah. Like people get hundreds and thousands of hours out of that. That's a better value buy than $100 Madden 2026. You know what I mean? Like
100%. Yeah.
I'm curious as well. Does Game Pass offer? Does it like have cloud saving for like your save games? I'm assuming.
I haven't used Game Pass in years.
So
I don't know if it. I'm assuming it does just because all of them do. Even Nintendo's does. But remember, Nintendo also offers Nintendo Switch Online, which also offers like all the old system like games, which technically it's like emulation, but you know what I mean. They offer all the old games, and but I think Nintendo's the only one that does like a family version where you can have 8 people share, like, you know, the Switch on the Sony, the Super Nintendo, NES, Game Boy Advance, N64, all those emulated virtual console things among 8 different people, while the other ones just don't.
Yeah, no, NOS is amazing. Okay, I think I'm gonna be the decisive factor. We're gonna wrap it there because this video has gone a little off topic, but that's fine. If you enjoy this type of content from us, where we kind of divert a little bit, we want to talk about Daima and everything too. We'll talk about some Dragon Ball stuff. We'll be doing some streams. We're playing Split Fiction, all that kind of stuff. But if you like this type of content, if you're watching this like 24 minutes in, I'm assuming you're kind of a fan. So leave a like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter at 59Gaming. My name is Bradical. You have Hydros and Silly Nolar also in the call. But we're going to get out of here. We'll catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.
Peace.
Deuces.
Peace.